Greetings, Annie Fisher STEM. My name is Angela Baracco, and today we're going to be talking about instructional models for offering tiered support in mathematics. Today our focus will be on how we can use the web resource khanacademy.org to offer tiered support during our intervention time. However, before we start, let's look at some intervention models. As you can see, in grades K through 8, including Algebra 1, the district has recommended intervention models, including Do the Math, as well as Mathia from the Carnegie curriculum. With Do the Math, teachers are facilitating a scripted curriculum with small groups of students. So the maximum being around 15 students, where the teacher is actually teaching a lesson that requires no additional prep work, but does require full teacher participation. With regards to the Mathia online program in grades 6 through Algebra 1, teacher support is not required. However, this program can be complex for students, and teachers will need to be available in order to facilitate support, make sure students are interacting in the modules that they are supposed to be correctly. It is not something that if a student gets stuck, they will be able to easily overcome independently. The teacher will need to offer support when it comes to Mathia. Teachers who are facilitating Tier 2 intervention often do so with small groups of students. Whether it's Do the Math or supporting Mathia or working with a small group on Tier 1 content, our hands are full. So thinking about the remaining students in our room, primarily those Tier 1 students who just happen to need a time and a space to be during intervention, what can we offer them to support their math instruction and to either prepare them for upcoming content or reinforce that Tier 1 concept that's not quite there yet? This is where we introduce Khan Academy. Let's start by creating a class. If you have an account, you can skip this step. However, you want to start by creating an account on Khan Academy. So you're either going to log in or sign up as a teacher. I have an account, so I'm just going to log in. Make sure you allow access if you do so with Gmail. And continue. Now we're going to go to the right top corner, click our name, and go to the teacher dashboard. As we scroll down a bit towards the right, it's going to say Add New Class. And I'm just going to call this a demo class, but you can call this Intervention Fall, Intervention Quarter 2, wherever you are. And then we're going to choose the primary content for our course. So I'm just going to select grade 3 as an option. Now this is important. This is where we want to create our student accounts. Because we have elementary age students, we want to make sure that those accounts are being created with usernames and passwords that we have access to so that we are able to maintain student access. In addition, I just want to share that you do not have to create separate classes for separate tiered intervention groups. Once we create our class, all of our students will be able to be selected or deselected for specific lessons. So you just want one class with all of the students that you may be servicing through intervention this year and creating all of their accounts at once. This is a really streamlined way to integrate new content. So then we're going to start typing in student names. So I'm just going to do a couple as a sample. As you can see, it generates unique usernames for each student. So their username is not, first name, last initial, or lunch code. So these are something that you're probably going to want to print out, keep a record of. That way, as students are getting used to logging into the site, you still have access to assist them when need be. So once I'm all set with a couple of students, I'm just going to shift my view a bit, and that way you can see we're going to create the accounts. And as we do that, it's going to remind us to download our students' usernames and passwords. So we're going to download the CSV, and that way we definitely have access to their password list. If you don't do this, you won't be able to do it in the future. So please download it and save it somewhere that you will remember. I always create an intervention folder for my information. That way I know where everything is. And you could see the username and password with the student name right off the bat. So then I'll click Next. And my class has been created. I can explore some third grade content. But really, the reason that we're setting up these accounts is so that we can specifically assign standards that we know are going to support our students in expanding their mathematical learning. So one of the standards that was tested on Interim 1 was 3OAA1, the meaning of multiplication. If I have students who are still struggling with this particular standard, I can type it into the search bar, open up the type of problem set that I want them to have access to, go to my class, select any of the students who I think need additional support. Now, again, we want to use our formative assessment as a gauge in terms of who needs this standard. Change my due date and click Assign to assign that standard to multiple students. Now, if I go under Assignments in my teacher dashboard, I can see that this standard, has been assigned to Andrea and Angela, but not to Cleo. So Cleo must have mastered that standard. Good job, Cleo. And so now I'm going to shift into second grade, because another way to utilize this is with prerequisite standards that are going to help our students on future interim assessments. So as we approach the Interim 2 window, if they struggled on Section 3 of the IA1, that's a place we can go to look for specific prerequisite standards. Now, when I identify a prerequisite standard, I can use Achieve the Core and just check on my alignment, right? So if I was in 308A1 and I map that standard, I can go backwards and choose the prerequisite standard. So I'm going to look at NBT A2. I'm just going to copy it. And then I'm going to paste it back into that Khan Academy window to look for a skills practice that will support that standard to NBT A2. And if you look, it says skipped count by tens, Common Core Math to NBT A2. I'm just going to assign that to Angela because she's the only one who had difficulty with that prerequisite skill. Assign, and we're good to go. So I quickly just went back under my name and the teacher dashboard to look at the assignments for this demo class. And now you can see that Angela and Andrea both have the meaning of multiplication assigned to them, and Angela also has skip counting by tens assigned to her. It's really nice when you can pick and choose the standards to assign to specific students, because if it's not assigned, you just see that little dash, whereas if it is assigned, you see a box. Right now there's a dash inside the box, but as those students complete those lessons, in the box there will be a percentage for proficiency. Just to recap what we covered, we used khanacademy.org to build a class for intervention. Here we can assign students Tier 1 standards for additional practice or prerequisite below grade level standards that are coherent to the current grade level content. These standards come directly from Section 3 of the previous interim assessment. So you click on that Section 3 standard, you follow it through Achieve the Core, and you see exactly how it's going to benefit students. So if you want to go a little bit above and beyond, you can actually map those prerequisite standards to your grade level content week by week and time out the teaching of those prereq standards to your Tier 1 pacing. So if you know that you're moving into that 3OA standard, preface it a week or two prior with that 2 NBT. Give our students what they need to be successful in advance so that when you go teach that Tier 1 lesson, they've already seen those prerequisite skills as a reminder. Lastly, if you have any questions on the demo lesson today, or if you just need some additional help setting up, identifying which students should be in Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. These are all questions that I'm happy to support. Again, my name is Angela Baratko. My email is boraa001@harfordschools.org, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have moving forward. Thank you.